In the astral walls, there are some areas where it's a more equal balance between matter and consciousness, or spirit, in other words. Because here in the physical universe, it is primarily the inhabitants primarily experience the physicality rather than consciousness or subtler energetics. But as we go up on the scale, it becomes more equally physical / energetic experience. And as we go up the scale, in a little bit further higher heavens, we experience directly the nature of dualities, the nature of positive pole and the negative pole of energetics. So the positive and negative pole is dynamism or dynamics of the yin and yang, positive, negative, and thus creating a variety of all possible manifestations. These dualities become more and more subtler, and these are still the lower worlds where we can access now the pure positivity and also the pure negativity. But the negativity is no longer, in the higher worlds, is no longer seen as negative as such. It is seen as polar, as dual, like the plus and minus of electricity. So therefore, in the mid-range of the heavenly realms, this becomes very obvious how things function with the positive and negative electromagnetism and subtler energetics. And the aim is to achieve a balance of the positive negative energetics, and generally it's known as the sixth dimension, where that becomes very, very obvious, and the beings in those dimensions are beyond time, space, and matter, and they perceive the obviousness of polarities. So their goal is to settle into perfect balance, into unity, and a perfect oneness and balance, because everything is seen as dual below, and therefore naturally one wants to grow out of it and settle into oneness, unity, and also from our perspective of the levels of consciousness, it is the scale of presence. And that's where then, with certain maturity or transcendence of polarities, we arrive at non-duality. Non-duality is a higher heaven. It's already a more advanced state, which is composed more of consciousness rather than matter. It's actually beyond matter, beyond time, beyond space. So it's already an eternal world. Yeah, the presence and non-duality, it's already the eternal, because when we focus on presence meditations, it is already beyond time and space. It is now. Although it still has some fine veils of Maya, we may say. It has veils of coverings. These heavens are beautiful, actually, and that is also the higher light, or the subtler light, and that is where the teachings spring of the ascension and the seven rays. As we go up and up, we open more into the regions of more and more pure consciousness, which are the pure worlds, the pure realms, well, actually pure universes. They're so vast and so big, and they're pure because their Maya is no longer, has no influence. There's no longer any negative polarity, and there's no imperfection. But what exists in the pure worlds is growth, experience. We may say more in more relative worlds, advancement. So essentially, the souls in the pure worlds, they recognize that there's a lot of potential to learn, to experience many, many things. But in the pure worlds, there's no polarity, negativity, there's no decay. So these are eternal worlds beyond any imperfections, we may say. And there are many degrees of perfection as well, many degrees of perfection. So that's where the word divine comes in, because divine essentially means perfect. And of course, Jesus the Christ was the example of the Christ consciousness, or the perfected spirit, the Son of God, and so on. So this is Christian terminology, and Hinduism has a lot more divine beings known. For example, Krishna and the Rama and Sita, and many, 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 many more divine beings that are known. Other traditions too. So divine worlds, they're more static, I could say, because everything is now, and everything is the isness. Everything is, and what moves, it is seen as the movement of the divine light, the movement of the we may say intention, and other vehicles utilized at these more divine worlds. So what moves are the vehicles, the aspects, but the primary experience is, and I know it doesn't compute so well, when I say static, but it is. It's the isness. And being human beings, we're used to movements. We're used to be moved. We're so moved. We're moving all the time. There's constant change. So when we think of static, it's like there's nothing going on. Like what? How can that be? When it's eternally static. It's the isness is. And what moves is the attention. What moves is the intention. What moves is the vehicles of creation or experience that are utilized. So as there's a saying that with every step, I am home. I make one step, I'm home. I make another step, I'm home. So it's seen very clearly the nature of the relativity, we may say, from the eyes of the isness. So the divine worlds, they begin at this stage. They begin at the purity stage, at the isness stage, which is already, we could say, beyond the changes of what we know here. in terms of time, space, and there are also various degrees of causality. So the causality over there has no karma. It has no effects as such. It's not gonna chase you back for healing and balance and so on, because the divine walls are divine. They are perfect. So from the lower causality, they're free, and there is a higher causality, which is not karmic, but it is much more pure. It's pure and beautiful, and it is only for experience. Or we may say cause without effect. The divine walls have many layers. We may say there we can identify some major blocks. This is the one spectrum, and then there's another spectrum. And these spectrums are a bit like here on Earth. You can be, for example, in a very bad area right now, like Ukraine or some places of war, or you can be in a relatively okay area, such as big cities, London or New York, and so on. You can be in other spectrum of reality, such as more sunny and more beautiful places, and all the way until the most paradise islands, of the earth, and Thailand, Caribbean, and Hawaii, and so on, where it is paradise, literally. And there are crystal areas and nice vibrations and so on. So on the same earth, there's a big spectrum of possible experiences. So in the divine walls, it's the same. It begins at the base level of purity, and then it goes into finer and finer light and sound areas. And many tried to identify these key areas, and I'm familiar with many different divine realms, but everybody agrees that even if you identify the 10th divine realm, there is probably more than that. It can go up and up and up. It can be even more subtler, even more refined and beautiful and lighter, beyond name, beyond form, nameless, formless, and so on. So therefore, divine worlds are vast. They're so vast that the lower universes or lower worlds are from the divine perspective, we may say, if you would look down upon the lower worlds, you would see like these large balls or large bubbles. And these are universes. These are universes. Large bubbles, large balls. And there are many, many, many. So this is how big the divine walls are, the divine realms. And inconceivable in many, many ways. I love a picture of Krishna where he is, that is known as Brahma Jyoti in the yogic language, where Krishna is floating in the divine sea, and there are many, many bubbles around him, which are universes. In these divine worlds, what does one experience apart from perfection and purity? One experiences various divine aspects, such as divine love, and it has many subtle layers, an aspect of grace, an aspect of mercy, an aspect of compassion, an aspect of power, an aspect of divine wisdom, of creation. So there are many divine aspects that the souls at that level experience. They learn about those aspects, they grow until one day they grow to be the co-creators, until they become God co-creator souls who can create their own worlds, their own universes. Now that is amazing, isn't it? So the key three guys, these universes, we know them: Brahman or Para-Brahman, Para-Shiva, Param-Vishnu, and many goddesses, their counterparts, their complementary twin flames, who made up, well, this one where we are. But there are many other divine beings who are working with other universes because they created those universes. Now that is fun. Whenever you experience the higher divine aspects or divine experiences, such as divine love, divine light, divine power, and so on, you do get catapulted into the divine realm. For that duration of experience, you transcended all the lower worlds, the lower universes, and you have abided during that experience in the divine. And you brought more awareness to that divine mercy, divine grace. You brought this experience all the way down to this um, interesting 3D realm. So literally, it is something very, very extraordinary that human beings, being basically in one of the lowest possible worlds, well, definitely on the lowest scale, are able to pierce through all the way up into the divine worlds and experience them and express them as well. So experience also is an experience, and more integration of that, of the divine qualities, divine aspects, requires more practice or more experiences to bridge the gaps, we may say, to bridge the heavenly ladders.